So what were the comics that I picked up this week? Stay tuned to find out. Alright, well thanks for sticking it out with me. It is April 14th, a Wednesday. You know what that means. It's New Comic Book Day. Before we get into it, as usual, I'm going to ask if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Smash that like button, hit that notification bell so you can get updates whenever I post comic book pick videos just like this one. And if you'd like to get a closer look into some of the things that I like to collect, such as comic books, but also statues, trading cards, omnibuses, things like that, you can find me on Instagram at MarkNerdyAF. And I just want to give you guys a heads up that I will be out of town next week. I'm actually leaving tomorrow to head to Charleston, South Carolina for a family member's wedding. It's my first time there, so I'm really excited. It's actually going to be the first time that my son Nolan gets to be on a plane. So we're kind of nervous about that, but we'll see how it turns out. I am going to be staying that whole next week, working remote out in South Carolina. So unfortunately, I won't have my equipment out there to do a video. But if you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure I'll be making a post about some of the books that I plan on picking up the week I get back. Otherwise, sorry guys, but you'll have to catch me back here in 2 weeks. So let's get into the books for this week. There were actually a lot of indies that I went ahead and picked up. First one being Jenny Zero, Party Monster #1. This is by Dark Horse Comics. Not really familiar with the writer and the artist on this book, but from what I saw, there's this character Jenny, and Jenny is the military's top kaiju killer who decides to retire and, lead a lifestyle of partying, drugs, alcohol, until some monsters come back into the picture, some creatures who are, I would guess, destroying the city or wherever she lives, where she has to decide if she wants to continue that lifestyle or turn things around and save the world. It seemed like an interesting enough story where I wanted to pick it up. It's kind of up to you guys. And next up from Aftershock Comics is Phantom of the Scan #1. A lot of new series came out this week in indies. This is by Cullen Bunn, and Cullen Bunn did a lot of great Star Wars stories, and overall he's just been one of my favorite writers, so that weighed heavily on my decision to pick this book up. Also, I saw the cover and I'm just like, is that Keanu Reeves right there? Is that John Wick? I don't think it is. I guess it's this guy Matthew, and Matthew gets these powers from when a comet hits Earth, and he has like these psychic abilities. I wasn't really sold on, the synopsis when I read what this whole series was going to be about, but it's Cullen Bunn, and, I like his stuff enough to want to grab this. All right, so next up is one that I had no idea was dropping this week. It is by a publisher that I don't usually get too many books from. It's by Scout Comics, and this is Locust #1. This is by Massimo Rossi and Alex Nieto. I think I'm saying that right. Nieto? I'll go with it. Alex Nieto does some art that really reminds me of Andrew McLean's art. If you ever read Headlopper, I won't just say art, I mean his writing's great too, but he is the creator of Headlopper, and I love that story. And I flipped through this and it gave me those vibes right off the bat. There's not a lot of dialogue, I'll give you that warning, but man, it's just having like this post-apocalyptic feel where you have this character who is in a dystopian New York City. And you find out the reason for that is, read the title there, Locust. So there's like these giant insect things that have just taken over the world, I guess. If you don't like those kind of stories, don't get this. This is absolutely in the wheelhouse of things that I love in sci-fi. It has, that I Am Legend feel to it. The cover even looks like it was taken directly from the Blu-ray or DVD cover for I Am Legend. I'm pretty sure there's no dog here, but it's Will Smith walking down a vacant street with his dog. Yeah, it's something different, but it's not like this has never been done before. I'm still going to give it a shot. All right, another book from Scout Comics is Murder, Hobo, Chaotic Neutral #1, another brand new series. And one of the primary reasons I grabbed this is because we have Ryan Brown doing the art. And I've been a big fan of his work ever since he teamed up with Charles Soule and did Curse Words. So that was one of the main reasons I decided to pick this up, but it did look like a pretty cool concept. It is one of those big adventures where you're going to have a team of different species, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, and so anything that's kind of related to that, I'm sold. But yeah, this hobo, I guess, is recruited into this team, and kind of looks like a barbarian hobo, maybe, I'm guessing. I have no idea. And this is going to end up being one of those titles where I'm going to read the first issue. If I don't dig it, I'm not going to continue picking it up. But it it caught my attention. All right, last one up for indies is a mini series, I believe, for Kanto. And it's Kanto and the City of Giants. And I know absolutely nothing about Kanto. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you've read the whole series, what you think of it. I know the first issue of Kanto blew up. I'm not really sure why. I think it might have been because like a series or a movie was optioned for it. But yeah, I know the first issue was selling like crazy for this. Is it a good series? I want to hear from you guys. From what I've seen in the comic book community, I figured I'll pick this up. I'll eventually get to that main series. But I don't know. I might start reading this. If it doesn't really make any sense to me, I'll probably have to go back to read the main series. This one could be cool, though. We'll see. All right. First up for our Marvel titles is Thor number 14. This is the finale of Prey, which is an arc within this whole series that Donny Cates has been doing. Thor has been great so far. I think this might actually be my final issue. This was in my pull box. It just wasn't what it was though. The first 6 issues that we got. It's been solid though, but I don't think I'm going to continue picking this up every week it comes out. I think I might end up waiting for a trade or potentially an omnibus, depending on how long Donny Cates decides to keep the series going. All right, next up for Marvel is Spider-Man Spider Shadow number 1. This is a what if series, and it's being written by Chip Zdarsky, which I am extremely stoked about. And I know he has done some great things with the Spider-Man character. What is that one Spider-Man book that he wrote and everyone freaked out about it? Life Story. I heard about this Spider-Man Life Story series that he did. Yeah, people were saying it was like one of the greatest Spider-Man stories they have ever read. So I know it's not just me. There's a lot of people out there that are a big fan of, Chip Zdarsky coming onto this book. Just to give you some background, it's what if in this one. It's what if Spider-Man never took off the symbiote suit? What if he, stayed attached to the symbiote? What would happen? How would that affect the choices that he makes? I'm a big fan of that concept. I think this one is going to be a great book to pick up in the weeks to come. All right, so that was it for Marvel. On to DC, we have Challenge of the Super Sons number 1. This is issue number 1 of a 7-part miniseries. I thought this Super Sons original series was great. This is also being written by Peter Tomasi, and art is being done by Max Raynor. This cover was one of my favorites that came out this week. But yeah, if you're not familiar with the Super Sons arc, I would highly suggest picking up some of those trades. There was an omnibus available on Amazon a couple weeks ago that was only like $60, but the whole story was phenomenal. And one thing I did notice is I was checking out the reviews online for issue number 1, and it looks like all seven issues have reviews already for it. So I don't know if this was one of those books where they kind of just held off on releasing it. I don't know if we're going to get a graphic novel right after issue number 7 comes out. So that's a choice you'll have to make. I'll probably end up picking up all 7 issues of this, or maybe you just want to wait for the graphic novel. It's up to you. I'm convinced this is going to be a good one. All right, continuing with DC, we have Batman Urban Legends number 2. This is a variant cover done by Francisco Mattina. Let's see if you can get a good view there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I didn't know how the camera was going to pick this up. It's a darker looking cover, but we have Red Hood and the Grifter. This mainly has been a Red Hood story. It's being written by Chip Zdarsky. So that is the primary story within this issue. You might have seen, actually the price tag's not on here. This is like a $7, $8 issue. It is a thick book. So be prepared if you're interested in buying this. But I think alone for the cover, that kind of sold me enough on this. I love how this cover looks. So yeah, regardless of the cover, it's an anthology story. You're not just getting Chip Zdarsky's, writing in it. You're getting a couple other writers and artists that have follow-up stories. But I would recommend reading issue 1 just to stay up to date on what's going on, because there is that one main story arc within Batman Urban Legends. So pick up issue number 1, see how you like it. If you're sold enough, pick up issue number 2. It's my advice. All right, next up for DC, we have The Joker number 2. This is being written by James Tynion IV, as well as Sam Johns. We also have Mirka Indolfo doing the art in this, as well as Guillaume March. That pair right there, illustrating this book, it's kind of ridiculous. This is a stack team writing on this and doing the art. And I was in love with this variant cover as well. This is cover C, done by Brian Stelfreeze. There is a lot of detail in here that you may not be able to see. Try to get a better view. So Joker here, hands on his knees, looking down at the pool of blood. Can't really see the expression on his face, but lo and behold, you get a reflection here in the blood where you can see his creepy mug. Just a really well detailed cover. And actually, I just noticed this. You have the, looks like a metro line, like a train line that we have here in Chicago. You have the train line grid right there. All the stops. Yeah, he's sitting in a train. I didn't even realize it looked like he was just in a regular room with this, carpeting. But I guess, yeah, there's the train doors opening. Really cool, really unique. I got to give Brian Stelfreeze my cover of the week. A little bit more about the story. Joker has possibly fled Gotham, but is he still there? Who knows? Everyone is after him, obviously Batman, but including all the villains after what happened in the Joker War. So we'll eventually probably figure out where he's actually at and see what happens. But yeah, the story has been phenomenal so far. Art has been, in my opinion, even better. Loving the art. So definitely pick this one up. Last one for DC. There have been a crap ton of new series that came out this week. We have a mini-series from none other than Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor has done some great things with his writing. Batman Detective, The Detective, #1 of a 6-part miniseries. And if that didn't sell you enough, Andy Kubert is doing the art in this. This is something different we haven't really got before. Batman is headed to Europe, or at least in this first issue, I think he's going to the UK first. He'll be in London. You could see, I think that's Big Ben. I think that's Big Ben right there. But yeah, he's going to be out of the country. And obviously something horrific probably had to happen that made him leave Gotham for once. So we'll see where this one goes. Tom Taylor, Andy Kubert, I don't think they're going to let us down. All right, well, those were my picks for this week. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you picked up any of the same books. If there were books that I didn't pick up, what do you think I'm missing out on? I want to hear from all of you guys. But wait, before you go, if you haven't done so, please click that subscribe button down below. If you had a great time watching this video, click that thumbs up. Gives me some motivation knowing that you guys are enjoying the content that I'm putting out with these comic book pick videos. And yeah, I really appreciate the support, so thank you. I got some reading to do. Until next time, chumps out.